Welcome to a week 2 edition of Browns Lab with your host Aaron and our star of our show, Peanut here, the Browns fan Labrador Retriever, if you will. Coming off of week 1, pretty sad loss with the Eagles. Man, this one was devastating because we were so close. We had our rookie linebacker who originally had a sack. Excuse me, had an interception. I had a sack too, but originally had an interception in the game. He had the second interception in his hands that would have ended the game, and then he dropped it. And such is the life of a Browns fan. It was pretty rough. And then, of course, the very next play, they got it together. They scored a touchdown at the end, and we ended up losing 17-16. That was pretty rough. But there's always next season, right? Or in this case, next game. So next game, hopefully, we should have some better luck with. Got the Cincinnati Bengals, who are not the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, their offense might be a little bit more functional than Michael Vick getting hit a lot and throwing interceptions, but their defense isn't as scary either. And since our offense was really the problem last week, we should be a lot better off as far as basically just being able to run the ball. We should have better off passing the ball. The Bengals, if you look at the Eagles defense, it's really only gotten better from the year before because they got a couple players off injured reserve that were out for them, and they picked up DeMeco Ryans from the Houston Texans, who's pretty beastie. They're doing a lot better than they were last year as far as their defense. And last year they were ranked 3rd in the NFL in sacks. So here we got a defensive line and defense that is playing pretty tough. So the Browns definitely were going against a top-notch NFL defense last game. So especially the first game of the season, definitely Wheaton struggled pretty badly, throwing 4 interceptions. I'll say 3 interceptions because that first one that he threw to Greg Little was ridiculous, and it kind of made me mad because that would have really made a difference in the game. We would have got at least the very least another field goal. We would have got, if not a touchdown, because we would have been down the 3-yard line had Greg Little just held on to the ball, or even batted the ball down so other people could not catch it. We would be fine as well. So it was pretty rough start. So we'll have to see. I mean, the Bengals are not as good. One thing that does kind of scare me about the Bengals is that now that we have Joe Hayden coming off suspension, who's going to cover A.J. Green? A.J. Green was one of the few receivers last year that actually gave Joe Hayden some problems. He had a couple big receptions over Joe Hayden, which usually doesn't happen too often. So the fact that we're going to be without our best cornerback in Joe Hayden, who played excellent against the Eagles last week, it scares me a little bit. But our defense overall, last game, just played phenomenal. They really actually were trying to win the game. It was pretty awesome to see them play as well as they did. So, all right, moving on. I got a couple questions that we're going to go to here. The first one is from my buddy Corey in Finley. He said, who will have a better second game, Brandon Wheaton or Trent Richardson? So Trent Richardson came back from his knee surgery, practiced a couple days before the first game, and really didn't play all that good. There weren't tons of holes for him to run through. The offensive line had a hard time, again, against the Eagles' awesome defensive line. But Trent Richardson didn't play all that phenomenal either. It was pretty cool to see him knock that dude's helmet off, though. That was pretty sweet to see that happen. So I think hopefully Trent Richardson has a lot more of that. But you know what? It's hard to say which one will have a better game. Ray Malaluga, the linebacker for the Cincinnati Bengals, has been kind of talking some crap about Trent Richardson, saying he looks really ordinary and everything and stuff. So we'll have to see if that's some good motivation for Trent Richardson for him to play even better. I was listening to the Bull and the Fox this week, and they're talking about how this might be good motivation. It's kind of cool to hear Dustin Fox. He kind of mentioned that basically that it might be really good for Richardson to not pay attention to his knee. 'Cause coming back of an injury like that, sometimes like players, sometimes they feel a little bit like they're kind of thinking about their injury instead of like just going out there and playing as hard as they can. And it might be give them some good motivation to kind of be thinking about this other player that was talking crap instead of thinking about his knee that's been a little bit injured or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see who does better. Brandon Weeden, I think, is going to do a lot better. Again, the Bengals do not have one of the top 2 cornerbacks in the league like the Eagles do. The Bengals don't have the defensive line. They don't have, like I said, the secondary is not as good. Even their top cornerbacks Leon Hall's coming off injury too. So I mean, they're just not as good as the Eagles defensively. So Brandon Weeden, I wouldn't be surprised if he bounced back and throws 2 touchdowns and an interception or so. Richardson could very well have 100 yards as well. So I think they both do a lot better. It'll be kind of hard to actually say which one will do better. I don't know. I'll maybe see Brandon Weeden will do better because I think even last game, if Greg Little would have hold on to that ball, I think he would have maybe kept a little bit more confidence throughout the game. Maybe we scored a touchdown there, and then maybe we'd have a different end of the game. But coulda, woulda, shoulda, and hopefully they'll both play a lot better next game. So, all right. My last question is from JMG in the east coast of Geneva. So, okay. So, anyways, he basically is bringing up Colt McCoy as a starter. And he's basically saying that he thinks that maybe Colt should have earned the job. Here's I think the bottom line of the Colt McCoy versus Brandon Weeden. Yes, Colt McCoy didn't throw 4 interceptions last week like Brandon Weeden does, or even 3, we'll say. But again, he's already played. He started 21 games, and his record is like 6 and 15. So, if you only win like a third of your games as an NFL quarterback, that's not very good. My point is that Brandon Weeden definitely has upside. Obviously, he's bigger, taller guy, has stronger arm and everything. So there's definitely a lot more upside to that. So he's only 0-1. He's only lost 1 game so far. Yes, he's only played 1, but he's only lost 1 either. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I think it's definitely the right decision to have Brandon Weeden there. He's actually looked phenomenal in some of the preseason, and it's definitely it's going to be a good thing. So, all right. So that was my last question. So kind of wraps us up here from Browns Lab this week. Remember, if you have any questions, you can comment on the YouTube video, or you can email us at brownslab@yahoo.com. So from myself and Peanut, the Browns Fan Lab, go Browns!